Hi guys, and today we've got for you a Haval H6. It's by popular demand actually. You've been asking us for a while to do this car, so there you go, your wishes are command. The rest of you are wondering, what is a Haval H6? Well, it's a kind of an SUV thing, isn't it? Looks a little bit like an Audi and a little bit like a Mazda, as you're probably thinking. It is, of course, a Chinese-made car. And for those of you that are asking, what is a Haval H6? A bit like me actually. You may be surprised to learn that this is China's best-selling SUV. In fact, this is the second generation car introduced in 2017. It was originally introduced in 2011, and since 2015 it has been China's best-selling SUV. Now, you're wondering, how much does it cost? Well, this model here is the Supreme version, which comes with all the toys and goodies, and it's $79,900, which is about $22,000. Strip away all of those, and you can actually save yourself 10,000 dirhams and buy it for $69,900, which is about $18,000. But really, when you're spending that sort of money, you might as well have all the toys, right? So this car actually is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, puts out 195 brake horsepower and 232 pounds-foot of torque. It drives the wheels through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. You're wondering, does it drive all 4 wheels? Well, it's got ground clearance. It looks like an SUV, but it is not all-wheel drive, at least not for now, not in our market. It is available in other markets as a 4-wheel drive, but here we get it as a 2-wheel drive. It's quite sophisticated in terms of suspension. It's got McPherson independent front suspension and double wishbone independent rear suspension. So I'm quite keen to see how it drives. We'll come to that, but first, of course, we must examine, when you're looking at something of this value and this sort, we need to know, is it practical? And we'll start as usual by checking out the boot. So let's open up the boot. Now, this is the Haval key, and whilst it does have a button for the boot, it doesn't seem to do anything. I think they just thought it'd be nice to have it there. Anyway, because it's not powered actually, so it kind of makes sense. There you go. 2-liter GDIT. It's a 2-liter GDIT. It's a 2-liter. So anyway, open it. So it's not powered. So that makes sense why the button doesn't work, because it just, you know, it's spring-loaded. It's not really powered. Let's get rid of the tonneau cover. You can see immediately the split folding seats. Now, interesting thing is, look at the gap there that exists. So actually the tonneau cover doesn't actually cover the whole space because of the gap. Now, maybe these seats come back a little bit. They recline a little bit, so they cover a little bit of the gap, but normally there'd be a gap. Anyway, so decent amount of space, actually good enough for like maybe 2 or 3 largest suitcases in here. There's some hooks there. There's a light in there as well. First aid kit, thank you very much. And under here you have a space saver spare wheel, and you've got your tools and, you know, a few spaces to put bits and pieces. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Let's see once the rear space is, what the rear space is like. I better get in there. So again, just have to basically pull it down. There you go. Let's get in here now. Oh wow! Actually, there's a pretty good amount of leg room, knee room. Oh look, I've got tons of room here. That's quite good. Does this seat go? No, it doesn't go back and forth. So that's how it is. So loads of knee room, as you can see. Plenty of wiggle room for my feet, no issues at all. And you know, the floor is a decent height as well. Not too bad at all. And actually, look at the carpeting is quite good as well. And actually, it wasn't a bad idea to put that seat back, because as you can see, there's an upright angle, and there's this recline angle, and actually the recline angle is a little bit more comfortable, except for this. There you go. Put that up, and that's fine. Yeah, that's not too bad. Actually, maybe that's a little bit too reclined. Anyway, I wonder if where the handle is for that. Anyway, so what else do we have here? We have 2 AC vents. That's quite good, isn't it? And 2 USB points. I like that. Points for that. There's also a massive panoramic roof all along the way. So if you pull this blind back, it gives the cabin quite an airy feel. And in addition to that, you have your center armrest with 2 cup holders in here as well. Now, according to this, it's also got Isofix Chelsea anchor points. Very good. So, yeah, actually, not bad. Not bad at all, actually. Quite comfortable. I think 3 adults could easily fit back here. How is it in the front? Well, time to find out. Here we go. In the front, look at all this. Blank. That's 12 point, oh look, it just came to life. That's a 12.3 inch screen there, and that's a 9-inch touchscreen there. Just drink in this interior, drink it in, because I posted a picture of this as the guess the car, hashtag guess the car, and it confused a lot of people because it's very, very stylish. It's doing that full length vent thing that a lot of modern cars do, but of course it's not a full length vent like a modern car, it just looks like that. But it's quite stylish. It's nice the way this curves out here, and it's kind of driver centric focus. So let's start it up. The starter button is here. It's very prominent right in the middle there. It's like, whoa, there's the starter button, very nicely presented in this sort of cubby area, this sort of hooded compartment here, which has a space here for your phone and a little power supply under there. But no USB. They should have put a USB in there. There's no USB. And there it is. There's the button. And then it's flanked by three very important, oh, not so important actually, they're just blanks. Isn't it? It's like you've got this area and you're like, whoa, we are presenting you the starter button and here are three. No, they're nothing. But this one is the reverse assist, or park assist actually. So it does do that whole park assist thing for you. So that's quite handy. I won't try that. And so let's start it up. Press starter button. There you go. Now let's start with this instrument panel. Please maintain your car. That's always good. You should maintain your car. That's not a bad piece of advice. But anyway, let's start with the instrument panel. And as you can already see, if I just do that, and at the moment it's fine, but this gives you an indication of what happens. It illustrates what I'm going to describe now, which is that if the sun is coming in from your side here through this window, often half or more of that matte digital instrument panel is obscured and you can't actually see, and there's no heads-up display, so that's your only chance. That middle bit there is controlled by these buttons here, so you can scroll up through there and it goes up through all your different trip meter things. 10.3 liters per 100 kilometer, not bad at all actually. And there you go, it gives you all of that information, and including, now this is interesting, tire pressures and tire temperatures. Okay. Like to see what that reads when we're in the middle of summer with 50 degrees plus, well over 50 degrees surface temperatures. Anyway, so that's what you get here. These are the buttons. So that's your trip meter stuff. This is your stereo stuff. This is your volume control. Oh, and that's interesting. Have you noticed that? So, and the same thing happens here, because there's a volume control here as well. Now you either get nothing, or it's too loud, or you get nothing, or it's too loud. There's no like in between thing. Which is a bit like the brakes, but we'll come to that in a minute. And this thing, I found the other problem with it is that when I'm trying to turn it up and down, often I'm pressing it, and by pressing it you change the source, so actually you change the channel. Over here you've got your cruise control system, and this is actually quite easy to use, so that was alright. That's not bad at all. Paddle shifts, because they're double clutch, it's paddle shifts. I never use them. I don't think there's any need to use them in this car. It's got hill descent for some reason. I don't know if that, yeah, it does activate hill descent. But it's not all-wheel drive, as we've established. So, but anyway, they've left that in. Traction control, all of that stuff there. Your thing. Now, this is interesting. This is quite confusing, figuring out what it actually does, because the mirrors have now folded in, which they do for parking, and then you try and do that. Now, the other thing is that mirror over there, once you figured out which one of these are adjusted, but the interesting thing is, what happens when I put it into reverse? It moves completely. And several times, and it moves down, so it's still moving. And it took a while to do that. And, so, and several times, that's caught me out because I'm reversing into parking slot and I can't tell, where's that car? Where's it gone? It was just there a minute ago. So yeah, a lot of mirrors do that. A lot of car mirrors do that when you're reversing, because they come down to show you the curb. But I think that moves a little bit too out. I don't know why it does that. It's a bit weird. And similarly over here, you have reversing camera. It takes a while for it to load. Did you notice that? And it gives you the nice line, so that's quite handy. And then it gives you this. Now you think that's a 360-degree camera. It's not, because it looks like it, because that looks like tarmac. But it's not. It's just sensors. That's all it is. So don't be fooled by that. Just because you see nothing around you doesn't mean there is nothing around you. There is. So let's go back into there. And over here you've got your normal controls. This is a steering mode. So with the steering mode, you get sports steering mode. You get light steering mode, and you get comfort steering mode. And I've actually had it in sport because I like my steering to have a little bit of a weight to it. In light, I found it to be too light, so I've put it into sport. Comfort was probably good enough for most people. And you've got a blind spot sensor, which is very aggressive. It goes beep, 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 as soon as there's a car there. So I could turn that off, but anyway. There's your volume control, as we mentioned. Now this here is actually your fan speed. So that turns your fan speed up and down. But there's no button here. Unlike most cars, where the most prominent thing is actually the temperature control, you don't get that on here. You actually have to press the button. Actually, it's gone into, so let me just put it into, for example. So that's your normal menu. Now, to get into climate control, you press the button, and then you get into climate control. And then it's all climate adjustable there. AC's okay. I wouldn't say it was the most powerful one, but it's all right. Similarly with the stereo, it's all right. It's a bit loud though, but it's okay. This is your menu. It's controlled by this very Audi looking layout down here. That's automatic hold and parking brake. And you also have driving modes. So you've got normal, eco and sport. So I've been driving in normal, but I'll tell you what, we might drive it in sport later on to see how it feels like. And of course you've got menu, back, media, all the rest of it. Doesn't have Apple CarPlay, not that I know of. No media found because my phone is not connected, but I have been able to connect it from a USB that is in here, which at the moment is plugged into the GoPro. But there's one USB here and an SD card slot and an aux. They're all in here. That's quite handy. And 2 USBs in the back. Decent sized cubby box, cup holder here with a cover on it, and 7-speed automatic as I mentioned. Glove box, not bad. And you know, generally it's all right. Now, this seating position I've been struggling with because I'm either too far. This whole thing, when you first get in the car, now I've got used to it after nearly a week of driving it actually. I've kind of got used to it, but when I first got into this car, all of this felt a bit too low to me. You know, it's almost like that Peugeot thing where it's put it down here, but then there should be a display up there, but it seems to be very, very low. So the steering feels low as well, and you keep trying to put it up, but if you put it up, it's too far away from you. And then I come closer to the steering wheel, and then I find my legs are crunched up. So it's not that there's a lack of space, and also the steering is actually adjustable. So, but I've got it on its most extendable reach there. But for some reason, for my body shape, for my 6'2" height and my long legs, I've kind of struggled with this a little bit. So before you buy this car, make sure you take it for a test drive for a good while and make sure that you're comfortable in this seating position. So I think that's pretty much all I had to say about the interior. And I think the next best thing to do now is really to take it for a drive. Let's do that. So here we go, let's take it for a drive. Now you can actually go into manual mode, but I haven't done that. It's not really worth using them. We could just try them. I'll start off in normal, maybe I'll switch to sport later on. This won't be, I mean, it was the longest introduction to the front compartment of this car. And I think, you know, for a lot of people who are spending this sort of money on a car, it's quite an investment for them and they really need to know about the car. So I thought I'd take the time because, you know, actually this is a really good looking interior. I really like the way this is. This first time I saw this, I was really impressed with it. It's very futuristic, very nicely done. So really you look at something, but you don't want to be completely blinded by, you know, the superficiality of its design. What you want to know is, okay, it looks nice, but is it practical? Does it actually work? So that's why I thought I'd take a little bit of time going through that. Having done that, now we're going to take it for a little bit of a drive. But again, you know, this is not a sports car. It's not a sports SUV at all even. This is a family car. You know, it's got an adequate amount of torque and an adequate amount of power. So let's just get past this car here and let's see how we do. So, okay, kickdown's not bad and acceleration is actually pretty good. And that's in normal mode, so not too bad at all. So let's slow down a little bit and actually put it into sport. There's an eco mode as well, but we won't try that. And then accelerate again. Well, there's some horses over there. Actually, didn't seem to be a lot of difference. About the same, really. I suspect what that is really for the transmission. It probably changes the ratios. So honestly, I was correct to leave it in normal, but I'll leave it in sport now. And we're coming up to a roundabout. Oh, actually not bad turning. And yeah, understeer is reasonably well contained. Decent response, no feel at all from the steering, of course, and quite light still despite being in sports mode, but responsive enough. There's a bit of play in the steering, but it's responsive enough. It's not too bad. The ride actually is very good in this car. The ride is very smooth. There's a bit of wind noise, but the ride itself is quite settled, and wasn't too much body lean either, as you saw there, so actually very well composed. Now what I will say, coming up to a sharp corner here, is the brakes, they're quite linear initially, and then they kind of run out of juice, and you thought, this is like, so that's what I was talking about, that on-off thing with the stereo control. A little bit of wheel spin. So actually, if you put the power down, it loses grip, particularly on the corner. So that torque steer getting the better of it. A little bit of wheel spin there. But like I say, with the brakes, it's kind of all a bit quickly through this corner. A little bit of flow, a little bit of body lean, but actually the grip is good. The grip is good, and the turn in was actually okay. So not too bad at all. As I was saying about the brakes, I just feel I wish it was a bit more linear all the way through, instead of you push, and then you have to push, kind of thing, to really get it to stop. But it's something that you would probably get used to if this was your own car. But good acceleration, good response, noises. The engine's a little bit gruff there, but not too intrusive. So overall, then I think that's more than enough. I could try the paddle shift if you want me to. Not bad. Yeah, changes are pretty quick. It's a dual clutch, so they're always quite good. Now I have to put it back into drive. There you go, drive. So, so as I was saying, all round, I think overall not bad for the money, but with these certain foibles, character flaws, if you want to call them that, which kind of can maybe put some people off, certainly would put me off a little bit. And what I would recommend is that before you decide to buy this car, certainly insist on taking the car for a little bit of an extended test drive and see if you and your family are comfortable in the car and if it is appropriate to you. Otherwise, for the money, it's not a bad proposition. There's no rattles and squeaks here. Quality is pretty good. Fit and finish isn't too bad. There's a little bit of cheap plastics here, but it's not too bad. Again, for the money, you can't ask for too much. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the review. Do please check us out on motoringme.com, on all the social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And if you're on Twitter, it's motoringme_. What can I do about it? But whilst you're checking out the social medias, check me out on Instagram. I'd love to see you there. Please give me a follow. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next one.